Hello everyone, this is Mumbo here, welcome back, and today we're going to be taking a look at something really quite awesome, and that is this multi-floor slime block elevator. Now this is actually based off an elevator that I uploaded the other day, and if you haven't seen that, I would highly suggest checking it out. Links to that can be found in the description, but of course that is just a simple up and down piston elevator. It doesn't have any of the fancy multi-floor functionality that this one does, which I think is really quite cool, so let's take a closer look. Now the way that this one works really is quite simple. Next to our piston elevator, as you can see, we have got this simple floor selection system. Now this actually uses an item inside an item frame to select which floor you want to go to. So for example, if you want to go to floor number 4, all we have to do is rotate this round so that it's pointing to the floor number 4 selection. Then we just have to hop inside our minecart, hit this button, and as you can see, we are transported upwards. Now that's floor number 1, 2, 3, and then floor number 4, we can jump out the minecart, and as you can see, we've made it up there. Then the minecart is dropped down to the bottom, ready for use once again. For anyone who's wondering how you get down from your specific floors, it really is quite simple. We are going to be using a feature known as gravity. All we have to do is walk into the elevator shaft, hold space, and as you can see, we hit the slime block at the end, and we don't take any fall damage. Lovely stuff. If we just pop round the back of the elevator, as you can see, most of the main bulk of the wiring is very similar to the one that I uploaded the other day, and that is because it is exactly the same elevator design. It has the same simple and repeating circuit that doesn't use many resources, and also is extremely easy to build, but it has this additional circuit here. Now this is what decides which floor you are going to be going on, and the way that it does it is by retracting one single block from the circuit. As you can see here, this is the floor that we have selected. This block has been retracted, and what that means is this piston here won't extend, meaning that we won't be launched upwards by the slime block, so that we'll come to a rest on the floor that is selected, meaning that we can hop out of the minecart, then the minecart will be dropped down to the bottom. It really is very, very simple stuff, yet it's extremely effective. For anyone that's wondering, yes, I am going to be doing a tutorial on this design, but before we crack on with that, I just want to say, to anyone who doesn't want to build this thing, but wants to take a closer look at the redstone behind it, of course there is a world download down in the description for anyone that wants to check that out. Chuck it into Minecraft World Saves folder, and have a little bit of fun. But anyway, how about we take a look at how to build this thing. To build this thing, you are going to require an 8x8 area. This thing is absolutely huge, but if you only want to build the elevator, then you are only going to need a 3x4 area, and that's what we're going to be getting things started on. So anyway, what you want to do is head down to the bottom, place a sticky piston facing upwards with a slime block on top. Then you want to place a block in the middle and surround it with immovable objects. Then remove that block there and place 3 blocks going around like this. Now all of these blocks here must be immovable because they can't be dragged down by this slime block. Anyway, what you want to do now is place a button on this block here, place a block down like this, block up like this, and then blocks going right the way around feeding into that piston. And on top of all of these blocks, you want to place redstone dust, and that is going to be the beginning of your piston elevator. Now, on top of your button, you want to place 2 blocks up like this, 3 blocks up on these sides, place a sticky piston facing upwards here with a slime block on its face, then go out the back like this and place a sticky piston facing inwards. Then what you want to do is place 2 immovable objects like this on either side with 1 immovable object in the middle right there, and that is going to become a fairly familiar sight because as you can see, it repeats itself right the way up to the top of the elevator. But now to head round the back, what you want to do is right next to this redstone dust, you want to place a block just over here with a repeater set to 4 ticks coming out of this block. This will have the button on the back of it. Then you want to place a block up like this, a block down at the bottom right here with redstone dust on top of that one, and then a block here with a redstone torch right there, a block up like this, redstone dust there, a block here with a repeater set to 4 ticks that is going to be running into a block with a redstone torch on top with another block on top of that one. Now it's time to start work on our little pattern. So what you want to do is head over to this redstone torch, place a block right here and a block down like this with redstone dust on top of both of those. Then head over to the redstone torch once again, place a repeater set to 2 ticks running out into a block with a block off to the side and redstone dust on top of that one. Then we're going to be repeating that whole process once again. So you want to go 1, 2, 3 like this, 4 up on either side like that. Then you want to place a sticky piston facing upwards with a slime block on its face, a block right there, a sticky piston facing across. Then you can remove that block like that. Then you want to place 2 immovable objects on either side with a block on top of the slime block. Then you want to head round the back and we are going to connect this one up. So what you want to do is place an immovable object right next to this redstone dust, a redstone torch facing upwards there, a block on top of that one, a block down like this with a repeater set to 4 ticks. That is going to be running out into a block with redstone dust on the top, a block off to the side with a repeater set to 4 ticks. That is going to be running out into a block with a redstone torch on top. And now we are going to be pretty much repeating the same thing again. So you want to place a block up like this, a block going across like that with redstone dust on top of all of these right here. Then you want to place a block here with a repeater set to 2 ticks. That is going to be running out into a block with redstone dust off to the side. And as I'm sure you can tell, this is a repeating pattern. So for anyone who hasn't quite caught on, I will do this a couple more times. What we'll do is we want to go above these obsidian blocks here. You want to go 1, 2, 3, and then 4 up on either side, just like that. A sticky piston up, facing upwards with a slime block on his face. Then you want to place a block down there with a sticky piston facing across. That is going to push both those pistons across. Then you want to place obsidian on either sides or some form of a movable object with a block on top of the slime block. Then you want to head down to this piece of redstone dust, place a block up like this, a redstone torch on top of that one. That has to be an immovable object. I cannot stress that enough. But then you want to place a block next to this redstone torch, a block there, a repeater set to 4 ticks. That is going to be running into a block like that with 2 blocks across like this, redstone dust, a repeater set to 4 ticks, running into a block with a redstone torch on top, and then we repeat the same thing again. So that is a block there, a block across, 1 block down, redstone dust on top of all of those. Then you want to place your block here with a repeater set to 2 ticks. That is going to be running into a block with redstone dust off to the side that is going to be powering that piston. Then you want to repeat the same thing once again. I'll go through it once more. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A sticky piston facing upwards with a slime block on top. Then the block next to the sticky piston with the sticky piston facing across right there. Then you want to head round the back, go next to your redstone dust, place an immovable object, redstone torch, a block like this, a block here, a repeater set to 4 ticks, running out into a block with redstone dust on top of that one, a repeater set to 4 ticks. That is going to be running out into a block with redstone torch on the top. And then you want to place a block here, your 2 blocks along, 1 block down, redstone dust on top of all of those. Then you want to place your repeater set to 2 ticks, running out into a block with your redstone dust next to that sticky piston right there. If you are only building the elevator, then you are pretty much done. You just have to do that same repeating pattern. You don't have to make any changes per layer. This design can go right from bedrock all the way up to sky limit. It will take you a very long time, but it will be totally worth it. But if you are going to be building the multi-floor design, what you have to remember is you can only have a selection of 8 different floors. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But anyway, it is now time to crack on with that one. I'm now going to show you how to build the floor selection part, and this really is up to you. It depends on how many floors you are going to be having. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to build a 3-floor design, but obviously this is completely expandable up to 8 floors. This one here has 7 floors, I do believe, which means that the red coder is fairly large, but this really does dictate how big your build is going to be being. So anyway, out the back of this block right here, what you want to do is grab a comparator and run it out the back of that one. Now, like I say, this is going to be a 3-floor design, so I only need 3 blocks with redstone dust on top of all of these, which means that all of this space out the back here is actually redundant. Now, to create your red coder, what you want to do is head next to this redstone dust right here, place blocks going right the way along the redstone line, place repeaters down at the bottom, just like this. Then on top of those repeaters, you want to place blocks going across like this with redstone dust on top of all of those, blocks like this right in front of all those repeaters, and then a bunch more repeaters, all of them set to 3 ticks. Then on the sides of these blocks, you want to place redstone torches. On top of those blocks, you want to place more blocks and redstone torches on top of all of those. And now if we were to chuck an item into this item frame, as you can see, we've got selection 1, selection 2, and selection 3, and that is how we select all of our floors. But for the minute, I would suggest taking the item out of the item frame. This next bit is going to involve you going back up your elevators. What you want to do is head over to where your sticky pistons and your slime blocks are, and wherever you want a floor to be, you want to head over to this piece of redstone dust, this block right here, and go a couple blocks out like this, then place a sticky piston facing inwards running into that block right there, because that is the block that is going to be retracted, which is going to prevent this piston from extending, meaning that you will stop off at the floor. So this next floor, this is the next place that I want to stop off, so we're going to place a couple blocks off like this, and then your sticky piston facing inwards, and then my final floor, this is the 3rd floor right now, this block right here, couple blocks out like that, and then your sticky piston facing inwards. One very important thing that I wish to mention is if you are going to be creating floors, what I want you to do is place your blocks like this, and where they are in line with the slime block, because that is going to be your floor level, you're going to need to place another immovable object, because otherwise this slime block here will grab that block, pull it back into the elevator and prevent it from working, which won't be very good. So for every single floor you want to have blocks, normal blocks on either side, but you need to have an immovable object in the middle, and I'm going to do that once again from this top one here. For the final part of this redstone tutorial, what you want to do is head over to your red coder that you have over here, and we're going to be linking these up to all of our pistons. So this one corresponds to floor number 1. If you select floor number 1, then you are going to be stopping off here, which means that you have to connect this redstone torch to this piston. So you want to place a block on top of that with a redstone torch there, and then run the redstone line right into that piston, and it should be on by default because we removed the item from the item frame, which means that all of the pistons that you run the redstone into should be on. That's one very important thing to remember. So when we link up our next piston here, we're going to have to do a slightly taller torch tower here. So we're going to place all of the redstone torches going up like this. Are we nearly there? Right, okay, so now what we want to do is we want to run redstone off the side of this one, and we can run that into a block underneath the piston with redstone dust on top of all of those, and as you can see, that piston there extends. And finally, for our last floor, we're going to need to do a much taller torch tower here, placing torches and blocks going right the way up, all the way up to the 3rd floor now. And once again, we need to make sure that this is on by default, so that one's off. This one is on, and we're going to run the redstone right the way around and into our sticky piston here so that it extends, meeting up with the side block of our piston elevator. Finishing touches now, what we want to do is head over to our item frame and chuck in a redstone torch or some form of arrow or way of telling which way it is pointing. Then you want to head over to your piston elevator. You want to place a block down like this, take out the button, place a rail, and then a minecart on top, then break both of those. And as you can see, the rail sinks down into the bottom. Then replace your button, and let's give this a quick tester. So as you can see, I currently have floor number 1 selected, meaning that we're going to be going all the way up to there. Can you believe it? Not much point in having an elevator here, but anyway, let's hop inside the minecart, and as you can see, we stop off on floor number 1. Now, if we select floor number 2, let's give this another go. We should see that this piston extends and this piston retracts. Hop inside our minecart, hit the button, we go up again, and then we stop off on floor number 2. And finally, let's give it a go for floor number 3. We'll just select this one. We should see that that piston extends, this piston retracts, and let's give it another go. Hop inside the minecart, and then hit the button. As you can see, there's floor number 2, there's floor number 3, and we can hop off just fine right there. So that is all working like a charm, and that has all been built. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.